Welcome to the Knife Life. My name is James Allen, and we're here at the Atlanta Blade Show 2023. And today with us, we have Walt Halucha, the owner of LATAMA. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
For those of you who know anything about Italian switchblades in particular, you know that LATAMA is the name in Italian switchblades. They were there at the beginning, they were there at the middle, and they are still here today in regards to the story of the Italian switchblade. They are one of the people that you can go to in order to get one of the highest quality blades available pretty much anywhere. But they do have something new to show us here at Blade Show this year. Thank you for joining us. What is this new toy that you have?
Yeah, in some respects it is a toy. It's a passion for us, so you could say it's a toy. But what we've developed is a new way of opening up a switchblade by using the scale as the release. It's a scale that works its way up, north and south. There are scale releases or bolster releases that move east to west, but this works and it's very, very comfortable to open. You could have a pair of work gloves on if you're an emergency technician somewhere, a fireman, and it works very simple like that.
And there's almost no movement of the hand with that. It's just essentially a pinching of the knife, and the entire right scale just slides back in order to allow the knife to open.
It looks like magic. A lot of times when I'm showing this knife, I'll say magic. This particular piece that we have, that I have in my hand now, is the first prototype that I developed while I was overseas, and I just loved it and had it in my pocket and used it for years. And when I came back to the States, people started to get interested in this, or knife retailers became interested in this, so I started to develop the mechanism. And we found that the mechanism that I did originally was too complicated for production. So the quest or the challenge was, how do we take this and the sliding scale concept and make it so we could do it in numbers. We hooked up with Reese Weiland and James Fang, and together we developed a replacement for what was in here to this, and lo and behold, there it is again. Sliding scale release, but production friendly. And this is a beast. This thing weighs about 65 pounds. It's like incredible. But it's a beautiful, beautiful knife.
And this was actually a winner at Blade Show last year.
This won the most innovative design in last year's Blade Show. This was developed, and obviously weighing as much as it did and being as bulky as it is, it's not very pocketable. And our challenge was, now how do we take this and have a pocketable version of this? And that's when Princeton came in, and this is what his design was. And it's a perfect size for the pocket. It has a clip, which is another story altogether, because in order to put a clip on the knife, you've got to have the back scale stationary, so a safety had to be developed, which it was.
So in order to understand better the development and the mechanism of these knives, Walt had me sit down with James Fang, who is critical to the actual design and implementation of this new mechanism. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank
awesome.
you for having me.
So how exactly does this knife work?
Sure. So the very early beginnings of it, the first one we had, you can see it's an internal nested sliding scale. So it actually is dovetailed into this side here. You pull it back, it folds down, a little triangular piece wedges into the tang and keeps it locked or closed. The problem with that is there's a lot of play with that once it starts wearing in. Nothing wears evenly, especially with a side opening knife. So So you can see here, you got a little bit of play there. We decided at first to modify it so that it was an outside, so you're no longer doing a nested scale on the inside of the frame. By putting it on the outside, whether it's wrapping it over or if it's just laying on top of liners, you don't have the risk of any play up and down. We then have an internal bar on the inside that slides and locks the sliding scale. That allows it to slide up and down and has stop points on either side. And obviously that's using bronze so that it doesn't bind. We then also changed it so that it is a plunger. So actually the mechanism is fairly simple. It just is your basic button lock, plunge lock kind of thing, but the sliding scale then depresses the plunger instead, and you then have a pretty standard action.
So you essentially just have an original Italian Switchblade mechanism that you've just modified the initial action a little bit.
Right, and that's really the critical portion of our patent and the design is really that sliding scale. The whole concept of that sliding scale, you know, the locking mechanism is just secondary. We can convert this as part of our patent to be a lockback bar someday for extra strength, we had thought about an axis lock at first, with that patent expired. But the real critical part is that offhand sliding scale. It's the unique method of disengaging and engaging the lock, and also it is on the offhand side specifically so that you can use 4 fingers. It's a gross motor movement, so that way if you're wearing gloves, if you have a cut on your hand, if you have long fingernails, it's very, very easy to operate, you know, just by sliding with 4 fingers rather than 1. You know, your flipper tabs use your index finger, your front flippers use your thumb, or even the bolster locks that you see on a lot of automatics, you know, use your thumb as well. But this is, you know, your whole hand, 4 fingers.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sitting down to talk with me today.
Much appreciated.
There are only about 30 to 40 of these knives that were made in this batch, correct?
Yes.
You are planning on having a follow-up run of another 20
Probably the same amount.
When those become available, where will people be able to purchase those?
LATAMA.net.
Of course, you are still working on bringing these into full production later on. There isn't a set date on when full production will be able to occur, but that is something that you guys are working on.
Yeah, we've been discussing the mechanism, and there have been a few of the major manufacturers that want to take it and run with it. And we're striving to do a full production run where it'll be a little bit less expensive than what they are now.
As soon as you reasonably can.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us and talk about the next evolution of the story of LATAMA. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.